Anita, how's your mental health?
Questionable at all times. You know this.
Yeah, how's the mental health of your children?
Also a little bit tricky. Can I tell you my experience in trying to find therapists for myself and my kids, Mel?
Yes, please.
Okay, this is how it goes. You ask around your friends and your family for a referral for somebody who's nearby. You finally find somebody who sounds like they might work for your family. You give them a call and you find out that A, they're not accepting new patients, or B, they have a huge wait list. So you start over again and you ask people if they know anybody who would be a good therapist and a good fit. Finally, you find one, you go and you meet with them and you figure out that you don't actually like them that much. But it's been so much work to find somebody who you can go to in your area that you're kind of stuck with them. Well, do you have any ideas for how to get around this?
I do because guess what? I've actually had some therapists that I have found on my own, which involves what you're saying. Sometimes I remember one time I was like 3 hours in the bathtub on my phone looking
Yeah.
through websites. I was such a prune at the end. But I have also had the experience with working with BetterHelp. And it was like, I don't want to say too good to be true, but because it is true, but it's like amazing because I was matched with my therapist within 24 hours.
And you didn't have to go through all of that other ridiculous process of trying to find somebody. And here's the cool thing too, is if that person didn't work out for you, you can just switch and say, and it's not like you're committing to another years long search for somebody who you're going to jive with.
It's true. And I lucked out, or maybe just BetterHelp is really good at matching people together because I never had to change my therapist. I loved her. Perfect fit for me. And I know that some of our friends have used BetterHelp and they've had to change therapists, and boom, same day, you can change.
Easy peasy.
You can ghost your therapist. Get a new one.
I love this idea. BetterHelp is one of our sponsors. If you use our promo code trybetterhelp.com/WWDN, you get 10% off your first month. And we totally recommend it.
Yes, get some therapy. That's trybetterhelp.com/WWDN.
Just as we started, they started screaming outside of my door.
Yes, I hope I can hear it.
They probably stopped because they don't want you to know.
I feel like we need a good tantrum or something, though, because we haven't had one in a long time.
No.
Please, just for my
No.
benefit. I know all the moms are like, Mel, you asshole.
Don't wish that upon me. It's been a minute, Mel.
Yeah, sorry that we didn't record last week. My bad. I was in Detroit. Oops.
Detroit Rock City.
What? It's
Isn't that what
Motown. Wait,
there's
I
like
don't
a
know.
song or something, or somebody says Detroit Rock City. I don't know why that came out of my
Oh.
mouth.
All I know is Motown and Detroit Lions, which is my team. And yes, they're my team because they are the worst. So I love them.
What were you in Detroit doing?
One of my music friends and I, well, two of them, they're married to each other. They live there, and I'm in a band sometimes in Detroit when there are gigs that I can join them on. We just planned a visit for me to visit. And actually, I want to say we kind of talked about this a couple months ago and then planned it because we're like, if we don't plan it, we're not going to go because all of us have gigs and summer's crazy. And it just so happened to be the perfect time. And we actually talked a lot about grief and things like that because they've had a lot of circumstances with death as well. And so it was really interesting. You know, those times when you are in the right place at the right time and the conversations happen to be exactly what you need and what they need. And you just feel kind of a connection that's extra.
Yeah.
It was like that. It was amazing. Good. And I slept a lot. I took like 3 naps a day. I'm still, oh man, the trauma recovery stuff from my near death murder experience has been something else, something to behold. So
you're living the cat life.
Yes. Except I wish I had the proprioception that that cats have, and I know that word from you.
Really?
Yeah, you taught it to me.
Oh, I'm so happy I taught you something. See, I'm useful every once in a while.
Guys, sometimes all the time, I get a word of the day and send it to Anita, and she defines it. She's usually right, or she makes up a funny one. This was not that. She just used it one time, and I'm like, I don't know it. Tell the people what the word means because I think widows need to learn stuff.
It's like
So,
your spatial awareness. It's like knowing where your body is in space. And it's, this is so funny. Now we're like in a lecture. It's like your joints have little receptors that tell them where they are in space. So they have great proprioception because they can like jump off a thing and flip around and still land on their feet.
well, you know what I think about when you say knowing where you are in space?
Mm-hmm.
I think of
What?
myself as a cat with laser eyes wearing a spacesuit
Pew,
flying
pew,
through
pew, pew.
space.
Well,
Yeah.
that's, I mean, yeah. I don't
So,
know how like being in outer space would affect our proprioception. Well, welcome back from Detroit, and I hope your proprioception improves like a cat's.
I'm still in the shock part
Shock and
of
awe.
yeah, shock and awe, and aftermath of a traumatic event. So I'm remembering. I know I talked about this last time, but I'm remembering. So I'd like to tell everybody, if you run out of energy after 5 minutes, or you forget things that just happened 30 seconds ago, I am right
Ugh.
there with you. Normal, totally normal for your brain to be completely broken. And it will change over time, but it sucks right now. Sorry.
Okay, well, I rode in a bike race and I'm getting ready for another bike race, and that's all I'm doing all the time is riding my bike because I'm riding with my son's mountain bike team now too, which is very funny and entertaining me all the time because they're 13-year-old boys. Well, they're not all boys. There's girls on the team too, but my son is a boy and they have no sense and they're very funny and they think they know everything. And I'm like, you don't know anything.
Please
And they're
tell
like,
everybody the story.
so on one of our first practices, we're on this like little trail system. And there's like 15 people in a row. We've just come onto this single track trail, which means it's only wide enough for one bike to fit on the trail. You can't be side by side. And the kid right behind me is like, "Can I pass you?" Like, no, dude. Like, there's nowhere to go. We just wait for a second until we've spread out a little bit, and then if you want to go faster than me, then that's fine. I'll let you pass me. And then as soon as we started going uphill, he couldn't hang, and so he dropped back, and I was like, "You can't pass me if you can't go faster than me up the hill." So then we had a practice yesterday, and the assignment was to go around this loop as many times as you could in 45 minutes. And so of course I was like, I'm gonna pass him.
Yes.
And I did twice. I lapped him twice. And because I'm an adult and a nice person, I was so excited to show the 13-year-old what it's all about.
It's not like mansplaining, it's bike-splaining.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But then he bike explained to me why he wasn't very fast on that trail. And it's because there wasn't enough uphill. And I was like, that's the silliest thing I've ever heard. But okay, sir.
The most opposite thing that of
Like
all
I
time.
said, they have no sense. They're really funny, but I'm having a good time. So that's good. It has been a little bit, this has been our first foray into like a sports world since Jason died, and only having one parent makes that harder. You're like, I'm leaving everybody else home alone. Here's a box of macaroni and cheese. Bye. And like lock the door and hope everything's okay.
Doesn't sound too scary, except for your youngest runs away. And so that's the only one that I would be
Do you
like,
know though? He is like the only of my kids who wakes up and does their chores.
What?
He doesn't run away anymore. I know. He's like, "Mom, can you please get this ready for me so I can do this chore?" And I'm like, "Who are you?" And I love you the most right now. So
I remember when he ran away to my house to hang out with me because we're bros.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, we've had a history, but I don't know. I don't want to jinx it, but
I love that kid.
I know.
I think I can't wait for him to grow up to see what happens with his life, because I feel like he will solve problems or be the problem.
Yeah.
But
I
mostly
feel like that about
the first one.
I hope he solves a problem. We were in the car the other day and my 9-year-old was like, "Mom, do you know what I wish had never been invented?" And I was like, "What?"
No.
And you know what I had in my head?
Deodorant.
No, mosquitoes.
Ah,
I hate mosquitoes. And he goes, "Mosquitoes." And I was like, "I'm totally on the same page with you." And my 6-year-old goes, "Do you know what I wish wasn't invented?" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Anger and weapons." And I was like, "What the heck?"
what?
He's like, "I'm being mean to each other." I'm
He
like, are
should
you like the Dalai Lama or something? I don't
he
know.
needs to live in Sweden because they're all conscious and amazing about those things and children growing up being that way and like maybe he could save the world somehow.
Maybe. I was like, oh, I was thinking mosquitoes, not like anger. But anyway.
He's like, "Mom, I'm thinking globally. You're
Uh-huh.
thinking of just something annoying."
Yeah, something that affects just you. Although they do carry malaria and West Nile virus. So, I mean, mosquitoes are bad. So, I was just thinking itchy mosquito bites, though.
I feel like I haven't seen you in forever and I feel like we always say that in this intro
Well, it's been a
lately.
truer in the summer, too. So, but you've been riding your bike a few times, too.
Yes. Oh, you guys. Okay, so remember when I first started riding a mountain bike and it was an e-mountain bike and I only did that because I was like, my brain wants to die, right? We've talked about passive suicidality. I noticed that I was not really moving my body at all out of bed ever and was getting more and more depressed, was just overwhelmed. And I had the conscious thought, I know that I want to be moving and I also don't really care enough to be motivated. So what can I do? Okay, I would love to ride with Anita. Do you think I'm going to put in the effort to be as in shape as Anita?
I would have
To ride?
lapped you twice, too, Mel.
No. Oh, I bet it would have been like 7 times. I would have been walking. But so she told me about the e-mountain bike. So I got one. And then last year I started skateboarding and roller skating, which unbeknownst to me makes you very much in shape. And I was like so stressed out with my life circumstances at the time that I didn't even notice that I was like in the best shape of my entire life, which then translated into the best ski season of my life because my legs are in shape. And now I have a mountain bike that is not electric. I mean, I have both, but I'm like, okay, I'm going to try this again because maybe actually I could keep up with Anita on an easy one, or at least she could wait for me at the top for only like 30 minutes instead of 2 hours. And I started riding it up, just, kind of doing a little increment of like, can I get to this top of this hill and let's see how it goes. Because I remember the first time I did that, could not breathe, could not do anything. And I was so surprised. Now I'm not in way, way, way amazing mountain bike shape, but all of that other stuff has still stayed. And so I feel more hopeful that I can one day be a non-e-mountain biker, even if I don't get to Anita level. And that's okay. Are you proud of me though?
I am proud of you. I think you should come join the junior high mountain bike team.
Oh,
We have some parents there who don't know how to ride bikes and they are out of shape too. And so
and they're
like,
also riding.
yeah, they're like learning at the same time.
Man,
It's because they told them they were desperate for helpers. And I was like, are we though?
oh my gosh.
No,
Oh my
it's good.
gosh.
It's great. It's great.
That is something that I use to help my mental health. That also, of course, exercise pairs along with your physical health as well. And looking back over the last month and a half or so since I almost died and having more trauma, I wasn't aware that all of the trauma work that I had been doing acts in a similar way to exercise, in the way that when you work on trauma, your system is primed to handle trauma. So even though I'm going through, I mean, I think I knew it on some level, but when my therapist was like saying to me, you're going to move through this differently than you think. And it's because you have worked on this stuff so much. Your body's already ready. Like you don't have to get your body ready to accept trauma work because it's already been doing it. I'm like, oh, I guess that's a plus. Thanks, trauma. Weird. And also, yes. But yeah, it's like your brain's ready for that. Your immune system, your regulatory system, your nervous system is ready for all of that. And here's the difference that I feel going through this round of super scary stuff, like this terrifying event. I mean, I've never experienced that before. What I noticed is that even though that is very scary, my life was in danger. I thought I was dead. And I've had the stuff that I do recognize with my brain being offline and my energy being taken away, and coming back in spurts. And kind of inconsistent, just living, I've noticed that what I don't feel that I used to feel, like when Scott died, is I don't feel defeated. I don't feel underlying defeat and hopelessness. I know that I can do it because I've done stuff before like this, even though the trauma is a brand new type.
I have a question.
Yes.
So we've talked in the past, and you've mentioned it even today, like the idea of passive suicidality.
Mm-hmm.
But then when you are faced with actually like dying, then all of a sudden you were like, actually, I don't want to die. Is that true or false?
It's false because it wasn't at my hand. Because I
Yeah,
wasn't
but like passive suicidality means like you just wouldn't mind if somebody was like, you got hit by the bus.
True.
Sometimes we assume that unless we had a huge life insurance payout, we don't really need to know anything about investments or even finances. But guess what? A little knowledge of finances is critical for all of us. Maybe your partner was in charge of that stuff, and now you find yourself making all the decisions. Maybe you're mad about that. Maybe I am. Nicole from the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast is here to help. She tackles financial literacy by telling the stories of women and widows and finance experts, and shares the lessons they've learned as certified financial planners. Whether you know a lot and feel confident in your financial decisions or feel unsure about all of that stuff, there is more to learn. Listen and subscribe to the He's Gone But the Money's Not podcast on all podcast platforms. This ad was paid for by Rockhouse Financial, an SEC registered investment advisor.
I think actually because during April I was doing awesome. I was doing kind of the best that I had in a while. Ugh. And I don't like saying that because now every time I say it, it's going to go back to really bad. But I was able to, like, I think I talked about this last time. I was able to reach out to friends and not just be the one that needed help, but I could offer help in a way that is other than me, messaging people on Instagram or, checking in online, like physically being able to have energy to go see friends and like gather friends. So I was already in a good state of mind, I would say. And I was getting ready for a gig with my friends that I loved. So I was in a good headspace when it happened. But here's what's interesting. Remember when you took me to get like some medical procedure done and I went vagal and you thought it was so funny and you filmed me? So guys, I know that like if we don't even remember what we talk about on the podcast, you definitely are not going to remember. So one time Anita took me to my appointment and going vagal is, explain please.
Your blood pressure went low and you fainted. You passed out.
Yeah. And so she was laughing at me, but what I noticed in my body is I'm like, it's warm here and dark. And I was just fading away. And I'm like, well, I guess this is how I die. Okay, I'm fine with this because your body feels so comfortable. So there's that experience. Now go back to this traumatic experience. I was like, okay, there's like a hostile situation, but I am going to exit this so I can go to my gig and go be with my friends and whatever, whatever, end up getting almost dead. And here's what I noticed during this. My life did not flash before my eyes at all. The only part that did was, oh, this is how I go. How funny and like ironic that it's escalated to this. And yeah, I know. So just for everybody's mental health and also because again, there's like a court case pending. I'm not going to tell all the details of what was happening, but I was in a position physically where I was very vulnerable and prone. And I knew if I made a certain move, like I would have been dead. And either if I had made a move, that would have happened because it might have triggered the person, or the person could have just taken the action to do the thing. Okay. So I was there and I remember thinking, how funny. First of all, how funny that I was watching Dateline 45 minutes before this. And now I'm like actually in a Dateline situation. That, kind of the dark humor just happened. Then I'm there kind of trapped in the position of what I know this sounds so cryptic and dumb. I'm just trying to not traumatize everybody, basically. Um, but I'm like, okay, if something happens, I'm going to have a certain amount of seconds or I will die. And so that part just felt kind of like hovering in the interim. And it was weird. It was like a really short time, I'm sure, but it felt super long. So what I felt, then I started, the person did the thing that then caused me to lose consciousness. And as that was happening, uh, the only thing I thought of was, wow, this is terrifying. And I thought of people that I knew stories of where they had actually died that way. And the only thing I could think of was them and empathy for them. Like my heart was just like, oh my gosh, I'm so sad about that. And I'm like, I'm probably dying right now. And then everything went black, but then I came back to and then ran away. so it was weird because it was just so in the moment, and it wasn't something I had been like, oh yeah, here I am again. It was just like, da da da, gonna see my friends. Oh, okay. So completely caught off guard. I mean, so caught off guard that I still then, after cops came and everything, I still went and I played a gig. Like I had someone drive me because I'm like, I know my body under shock. And so I know that it would be smart for me to have them drive me. But I went, had the best like 2 hours of ever because I'm with my friends that are safe. I played music. It was jazz. So everything was just like, you had to be in that space where you like elevate together. It was beautiful and amazing. It was surprising to me that I was, quote, okay. And because I was like, oh, the thing happened. I lived. That was not okay. Luckily, there are cops involved. Now I have a gig with my friend. It was just like boom, 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 thing, thing, thing. And oh, now I'm playing. And my friends were great. They've been with me forever as friends. And so they've been with me through Scott's stuff and everything. So I was in a safe place. They were great to interact with. They were like, I can't believe your life. And I'm like, I know. Can we make dark humor jokes about it? They're like, yeah, but also kind of like, are you okay? I don't know. And I was like, I don't care. I just want to play. Like, all I can do is play. So then I thought I was fine. And then I go home. And when you enter the home where the thing happened, or wherever an event happened, we know this from grief, that's when stuff settles in. And then you're like, oh, no. Okay, I know this. This is not foreign to me that now I'm having feelings and maybe wanting to avoid the area in the house where something happened, or it would bring back memories. And so then that's where I was like, thank you, widowhood. That sucks. Because I can at least be warned, even though I'll forget all the time, that this is also shock and it might exhibit how it has in the past. And how interesting is it that I've had so many shocking and traumatic experiences that it's like I know myself so well in the traumatized situation. Not at first because you're so in shock that you're like, oh, I'm just fine. Right? Like when Scott died, I was like, oh, okay, they told me he's dead. Should I still go running? I mean, like, what do I do? Like, there's nothing to do. I can't do anything.
Eat a sandwich.
Same. Yeah, it was kind of the same. This was a different scenario, but that's what I noticed. It's just like, and I noticed that in the moment. I'm like, yeah, of course I'm going to do the gig. And I go, oh, this is how I felt when I was going to see if I should go running. Because my friend was like, hey, we can take you off the gig. Don't worry, don't come. And I'm like, no, I have to get out of here. And I want to. And I know I can function. So that's interesting. So that was a long answer to your passive suicidality question.
Thank you.
Can I tell you that since then, absolutely, all the things that I have experienced in widowhood have come back in forms. They're a little different. It's hard when there's somebody that has caused this type of harm to you. It's like assault is really scary. I know this is nothing like anything suicide widows deal with, but they do have a lot of complexities in that, where there could have been abuse, mental abuse, physical abuse, all of the kinds of abuse. Maybe they saw their person die, guilt, because it's just so complex. So I'm noticing differences in in that. And then that's helped me to kind of look back and say, oh, yeah, I remember at the beginning of widowhood, I thought this experience was just me, or I thought this experience was just widows. And I'm realizing more of the stuff we interview people about and talk about where it's like, no, our brains respond how they respond. Like when we talked to Lisa Schulman, that and if you guys listen to that episode, you might remember that she classified things as an emotional traumatic brain injury, like a loss and shock and loss. And what she said to us was, your brain doesn't have centers in it that say, okay, this is loss or shock due to a spouse dying, a partner dying, or getting attacked. Like it just is in there and it reacts. It's interesting for us, you and I, we talk to grievers a lot. We talk to people that work in these areas a lot. We also experience stuff, but we're also just two widows and just two humans with like blob brains, and sometimes we like to like bike explain to teenagers. But our brains do react how they react. And so yeah, it's fascinating to me. I think I said this last week too, and if I did, I'm sorry, you guys. I have the trauma brain, so I don't remember what I've said and not said. But I'm trying to keep track of what those are, like with as far as energy, or okay, how, if I can even get my head together enough to to write stuff down. Like, yes, this is a response, and I felt tired after this happened, and kind of looked back on that. So again, in a sarcastic way, thanks widowhood, but also thanks widowhood for helping me to understand skills and tools, and thanks therapy. Holy moly.
And thank you to our listeners for being patient with us as we're kind of being a little bit not our normal regular selves. So thank you for that.
So Anita, you've only known me since Jason's died,
right?
So you've watched me go through, I mean, wherever I already was when you met me, with my grieving process with Scott. But then you watched my dad die, and then you've watched other really scary situations happen that have happened in my life and how I've responded. And now you're watching this other one. What do you think? So what is it like from your perspective to watch someone that you know go through these things?
It's interesting because, like you said, I don't know you from your pre-Scott dying time. So it's like I don't have a true baseline. Does that make sense of what, like, and now I'm going to ask you a question back. Like, do you ever feel like the real you is gone? Because I feel like that.
Here's what I feel. I feel the real me is finally coming out.
Really? Because I feel like the real me died with Jason. And like now I'm kind of like a fake me, and I haven't come to the point where I feel like I'm the real me. I don't know if I ever will. So I don't know. Maybe just the unmarred, the unbroken, our former self. I don't know.
I also wonder, Anita, because you have a lot of change with kids and helping them and watching them and managing your own self. And it's such a constant navigation of transition for not just you, but for everybody. And then transition in society, and
COVID didn't help.
And like, why are you lapping some child bikers? Would you have done that before Jason died?
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay. So see,
I've always
the real you is still in there.
Well, but the difference between how I see that my trajectory has gone versus how your trajectory has gone is I feel like my trajectory has been fairly like if you plotted it on a graph, typical? It's, well, I wasn't going to say typical, just like it's just been like steadily, and of course there's like little dips, like, but if you graphed out the whole thing, it's been getting better the whole time. And I feel like you've had bigger like ruts where it's gone like and then back up. Like, can you make that sound on a graph?
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not a mathematician. So that's just kind of like, and of course, never is the graph actually just like a straight line of improvement. Things are always hard and you go backwards a little bit, but globally, I feel like there have been more road bumps in what your graph or your line has looked like versus mine. And we also have two very different support systems, situations in that regard, and family dynamics too.
Yeah. I,
So
I have one now, basically one family member,
yeah.
and you have everybody.
Yeah, well, and like my family, my unit is me and my kids, right? And your unit is you and your mom, kind of a thing. And so it's just like a different, and then where you draw is, from friends and things like that. And you don't have that little family unit like this, the same kind of a.
Yeah. But like all your siblings, like you guys
Mhm.
talk
Yeah.
and your parents are alive and they help
Yeah.
come over and help you and your
Yeah.
grandpa's alive. And so it's interesting.
He's my favorite.
I think it's so interesting too, because again, when we started the podcast, we didn't know what was going to happen. We're like, let's just talk and whatever.
Hmm.
And and I'm glad that and people ask us this. They're like, you guys have such different situations. How do you get along? And it's like, well, it actually is kind of like this amazing, weird link of puzzle pieces because there are a lot of people that will identify with your situation and a lot that will identify with mine. And then some that won't identify with either. And they're like, you guys suck. I'm going to go like listen to somebody else or nobody. Bye.
Somebody who's useful and has like, well, we do have degrees, so never mind.
That's true.
Whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Advanced degrees, even. I
I
mean, in
know.
jazz studies, I don't know how useful that is. But guys, I can improv. If you
I
need
can play that
improv,
jazz,
I can play the jazz.
all that jazz.
I can write big band charts, but
Yeah.
yeah, trauma. Ooh. Someone said to me yesterday, actually it was our friend that did the grief thing with us, our musical friend, Corey
Oh,
Connor.
yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, she goes, it's really interesting because we think as humans that as you age, life is just supposed to be getting better and better and easier and easier. And she's like, it's not. It gets worse all the time. And because she was telling me about some situations of some people that like differing circumstances, but just like hard stuff. And so she's like, I sent my husband to go help this person, and then I went to help this person, and then so we were talking about kind of how life just keeps getting hard. And it's like, yeah, your contemporaries and your friends and your family, like as you age, they're gonna die or they're gonna have health challenges, or the longer
Yeah.
people are alive, the longer sometimes it takes to, or the more energy it might take to maintain a relationship, or you might have to cut off relationships from people that you're related to or that used to be close.
I think it's so interesting though, the word choice to say that it's getting worse. I think that I don't know if I want to say that. I don't know if I'll want to say that later, but I think our challenges evolve as we get older too. Like we feel like we're going to reach a certain point where we won't have any problems anymore, and I don't
Yeah.
think that's true. Like it's just going to be in a different bucket, right? It's going to be, now I'm not dealing with poopy diapers. Now I'm dealing with actually my mom and dad's poopy diapers or
Yeah.
something.
Actually, that's interesting that you bring it up that way because I didn't even think about how wording it that way makes it sound. And I think it's true. I don't know, I must have just grown up in like this happy little bubble and I framed it that way. I'm sure as my environment also probably me, we're a product of our environment and whatever. But yeah, I think that I had been looking in at life in terms of good and bad instead of harder and less hard or
Yeah.
complicate, like just
Yeah.
changing the word is
People
helpful.
all the time try to tell me that if you think being a parent is hard when they're little kids, just wait till they become teenagers. And always I want to say to them, please just lie to me. Like, I don't want to know that it's going to get harder. Like, no, I don't want to hear it. And now I'm like, oh, dang it. They might be right,
Yeah.
but I still don't want to hear it. And then my mom says, oh, just wait till they're adults and then you have to worry about them, but you don't have any say over their their choices or whatever. And then, it's got to be hard to deal with some of the things, things that happen as we age as well.
Yeah, like I actually want to ask you about that. So, one of the reasons why when I say, "Oh, I'm glad I don't have kids,"
Hmm.
because I don't want to stress out over other people because it's really exhausting and hard. Like, what is that like for you? Speak for all the parents.
It's really
Because,
exhausting and hard. I heard this there's a book out there and I think it's called All Joy No Fun.
oh,
And I'm like, I think that's totally true. It's like kids give you this great sense of joy, and it's also just like really, really hard. Would I trade it? No. Like, I mean, maybe one of them I would trade in for a different one, but I'm
but
just
maybe it
joking.
varies on different days. Or
Yeah,
maybe you
yeah.
just want to trade you in.
For an upgraded model,
Yeah.
you know? Yes. Yeah.
That's the thing too. Like it was Tiffany Skelton that we just interviewed, and she said this in her interview a few weeks ago, where she said, I was only thinking of a big family being amazing because we would all be together on holidays and this would be fun and that would be fun. And then she's like, oh, okay, no one told me about carpool. Yeah, that makes sense because I think also when people say joy, I thought that joy meant like fun and awesome and like
Yeah.
easy. And it's
A
absolutely
different
not.
thing. So just like grief, though, we've talked about this, how grief breaks you open and you can all of a sudden, you felt such depths of low that you can feel such, just like the opposite amount of height in highs. And I feel like it's the same thing with parenthood. Like it's really hard, but then you also get this really amazing opposite amount of fulfillment out of it too. So it's like you have to go through the trenches to also feel that fulfillment and the joy that comes from, watching your kids not crash on their mountain bike or whatever good thing they're gonna do. And yeah, I don't know.
That's interesting
It's
because also,
existential.
yeah, because now I think of I've been single for most of my life, even though I've had a lot of relationships. And so, e- even though I don't have what you have, I've had to go through the trenches and all the pain and the loneliness and the isolation and the like finding creative solutions to find where I can, first of all, feel okay about myself and my place in society. Not only just feel okay, but like actually love myself. And that takes a long time, I feel like. A lot of people think that their worth is tied to their who's around them and their people, if they have kids
Yeah.
or not. I mean, but then of course there's like parents and they're like, I feel like totally worthless and they have kids. So,
Yeah.
but so going through the trenches in our own ways and I feel like I'm constantly clawing my way up from a gigantic hole in the earth and then I get kicked down and I have to keep doing it and it feels like 24/7, but at the same time that gives you muscles.
Yeah.
I
Well, and
don't
it's
know.
two different trenches. We always talk about how you can't really understood widowhood. You can't really, did you say you can't understood it?
I don't know.
You can't understand widowhood unless you've experienced widowhood, unless your partner has died. And then all of a sudden you can understand it. And even if you can understand grief, it's a little bit different. It's the same thing with a parent's trenches versus somebody who's single, their
It,
trenches,
it's a trench.
Yeah. They're just different trenches.
Mm-hmm.
But
Hopefully not with landmines in them when you
oh no,
fall
there's
down.
landmines. Sorry.
I wish that my trench just kept going down into the earth and then I would find really cool treasures. Like anybody that's playing video games, which I'm sure is none of the adults that listen to this and just me, it's probably all y'all's kids or nieces and nephews. The new Zelda game came out. And you can go underground and shoot stuff that lights plants up and everything is glowing. I want my trench to be that.
Okay. I I think it's fine if you
Tired
want
of
that.
climbing. I want to like yeah. But you asked like if my true self was
Hmm.
hidden, what however you asked it.
Yeah, if you feel like you're your true self now, or if that's gone.
I feel like it's like an uncovering and a changing and a because a lot of it's allowed me to not feel as bad speaking up or not feel bad taking up space. I've felt like I am not worthy enough to take up space in life. I've always felt like I need to take a back seat to everybody or shouldn't have emotions while others could, or, you know, I, yeah. And so that part it has been changing over time. And now I'm, I just am like, I don't care. There are things I just do not care about and I will never care about. And I'm done caring about them. And I feel okay about that. Part of it is I just have like rage, kind of healthy rage though, I would say right now. Or I don't know. I just don't care. Like, okay, you're mad about that thing. Guess what? I don't care. I almost died. My dad died. This person cheated on me and my husband died. What? Who cares? I don't care. So I feel less like it's a liability to be myself,
Hmm.
but I'm also trying to uncover my true self. So I feel like
That's
mine's been
interesting.
more buried.
From before, and now you're trying to find it. That's
Yeah.
interesting. Yeah, because when I meet new people, I'm like, this isn't the real me, you know. Like there was a different me who was different, and I don't know if I would say like one is better than the other, but I mean, I'm so different now than I used to be.
Yeah.
A
That's
lot more
probably.
tired, but
Yeah. I take a lot more naps and I took naps before too. Oh. Well, we hope you all are doing however you're doing.
this weekend is a particularly hard weekend for a lot of us because it's Father's Day. This will come out after Father's Day, but yeah, I just want to give you some like love and solidarity over the fact that this can be a hard weekend for people, and hopefully the ads on Facebook haven't been too terrible for you.
You know, it's so funny and not funny. And this might offend somebody, and I'm sorry. And I'm going to say it because for me it
Because you don't
makes
care.
sense because I don't care. I care about you. But if you take offense to this, just be like, I am me and I am not Mel. And Mel thinks this and feels this way. And I feel different. And that's okay. That is my little therapeutic recommendation for what I'm about to say, which is
Now
not
I
even a
can't
big
wait
deal.
to hear what you're going to say.
Well, it's dumb. It's not even going to be like that profound. I don't even care that it's Father's Day. My dad is dead. I have no kids. My husband's dead. Like everybody can just like go quack off.
Yeah, that's fine.
That's how I
I
feel.
don't think it's offensive.
It's not. I just like, you know, when people like don't have kids and they wanted kids, and so it's like extra hard.
Oh
For
yeah.
me saying like I don't care.
Yeah.
I don't
I
want
guess
that
that's
to
true.
hurt them. But sorry, guys, I've never mean to hurt anybody. But I also just don't care about Father's Day. Bye.
Bye. It's my mom's birthday on Father's Day this year, so we're focusing on that. And
Nice.
sorry to my dad that bleh, you're getting kind of like superseded by mom, but
Randy K. Randall, you can come up and hang out with me with my trailer because I'm going camping this weekend.
oh, that will be lovely.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing ever, so
Oh, okay.
I have a calendar though that is full of stuff, just so you know, but I have to look at it every day to figure out what we're doing
I
for the
also
day.
do that. Good.
Yeah,
It's
good.
wise.
Yeah, to have a calendar full of like swim lessons from 10 to 10:47, and then this person has archery from 11 to 11:24. Yeah.
Wow.
Uh-huh.
You guys, if you like the podcast and you want it to keep going, even though we sometimes talk about weird, no, just kidding. If you guys like the podcast, will you please consider joining our Patreon? It really helps us because it gives us money. Let's just be honest. And then that helps us to pay for things that help all of the widows. So patreon.com/WWDN. That means you can get ad-free content at a certain level. And you also, one of the levels has a t-shirt, one has Q&A. Like there's a whole bunch of stuff. So check out the site. Please sign up. If you don't know where to find the Patreon situation, we have an app in the App Store. Widow We Do Now. Everything is there. You don't even have to think other than get the app.
And if you want to buy us tacos, then do that. Go to buymeacoffee.com/widow we do now.
It would be super rad and awesome if you guys would give us a 5-star rating and review for Apple Podcasts. Unfortunately, Apple is the big cheese. Haha. And that's how every rating gets, I don't know, it just helps you move up in the podcast rankings and helps people to find you. Spotify also has ratings, but you can't review yet.
Right. We're going to do our Patreon shout out. We're going to get a special guest there. And then we'll see you guys when we see you guys next. I'm Anita.
I'm Mel.
2 young widows. Just figuring it out. Trying to help you figure it out. And what are we figuring out? Widow.
I don't know, but I don't care.
Yeah.
Widow. I don't care.
We
do.
Now.
Ah!
Hello, this is Subject 2 here. I'm going to be helping my mom talk about patrons. And also we have Subject 4 with us too to help. And then my mom, of course.
Probably never can do.
Okay.
I don't know.
Consistence Bell Dahlback, David, Don Setterwhite, Emily Wenserberg, Eveline Floors, Gail Bailey, Heather Mullins, Ivan Mincer, Kat, Krista Walt, Maya Glaser, Neil Hopper and Kelsey Hatchett, Rebecca Zaliba, Sam Finelson, Karen Conijo, The Winehouse, Alexis King Adelio, Amber Allison Vella, Amy Hartman Martell, Amy Neal, Ashley Han, Barbara Schneeberger, Becky Lugders, Beckley, Brandy Younger, Chris Seffen, Cindy Wickerson, Conan Rimmich, Daniel Catterberg, Debron Nilek, Dennis Brozo or Bozo? Is it Brozo? Oh, Dennis Browzo, Jean Mary Masson, Jen O'Brien, Jenny Taylor, Jennifer Bailey, Jennifer Brown, Karen Lindsay, Carol Skulls, Laura Arguin Penner, Leah Johnson, Lisa Hardman Powell, Laukinson, Mary Hoffman, Mary Catherine Anderson, Meg Morato, Patricia Winst, Rachel Barbosa, Sarah Morris, Simone Foe, Sunshine Haven, Alice McAllister,
Amy Burke, Ann Drennan, Anna Tracy, Adria Henniger, Christina Scambato, Christina Anderson, Cindy Reno, Dawn Barber, Debbie Fells, Deborah Westwood, Doris Reichel. The first name kind of sounds like Dorito. Eileen Stevens, Dam, Emily Toledo, Eric Vangel, I don't even know that one. Aaron Posick, Gabe Lozano, okay, Gia Benoit, Gina Haas, the ENC, Jackie Coyle, Jan Seeley, Grandma Jane, a secret patron. Jennifer Davis, Jenny Armstrong, Jennifer Dickinson, Jennifer Sanders, who's joking in the last one? Danny Barrow, Jenny Dipple, Jessica Bork. Welcome, Jessica. Jocelyn Milo, Johnny Walker, Dilly Stevenson, Daniel Shoa, Gwen Shoa, Kathy May, Curdy Gertz, Katie Ratcliffe, Katie Saucier. Welcome, Katie. Kara Scara, Kevin Ferry, Chris Morgan, Laura Bradbury, Laura Keeley, Laura C. Welcome, Laura C. Linda, Lindsay Kanopka, sorry. Marjorie Lewis, Marianne Hammond, Marianne McDonald. Why couldn't Ollie do it? Mary McGowan, Melissa Bowers, Melissa Hancock, my sister Missy Muhlstein, Naomi Brown, Rachel Tang, Rebecca Ollermaker, Robin Flam, Stacy Sayward, Susie Dunnigan. Welcome, Susie. Danny Terravest, Trenton Thompson, Val Packer.
This is my favorite thing to discuss with you.
Tell me, what is it?
One of my favorite things. I do enjoy tacos and cheese and dogs. This is about how you cannot pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a phone plan, especially when you're a widow, your person is dead, you might have kids, you might need another option, and you just want your phone to work, you want unlimited texting and service, and you want it to be like $25 a month.
It blows my mind that they have plans that start at $15 a month. That is so cheap. And the cool thing is it uses other 5G networks, and so you don't have to pay extra for that, and you still get great service.
Yep, Anita and I have traveled all over, and I have used my phone. So I highly recommend it. And my mom's even on it. When my dad died, we put his phone down to the cheapest plan, which is $15 a month. And I think my mom's on the $20 a month plan, and it's so worth it. It's so much cheaper than what we were all paying before. So I highly recommend it if you're on a budget or not. Who cares? Ryan Reynolds is in charge of the company, and they send you free stickers with Ryan Reynolds temporary tattoos. It's kind of the best. So if somebody wants to sign up, what can they do, Anita?
Go to trymintmobile.com/WWDN. Seriously, you guys. Such a great idea. Save yourself some money.
And if you're worried about losing data or having any changes with your phone, not going to happen. They walk you through it. Everything's fine. It's the easiest process of all time. Again, that's
trymintmobile.com/WWDN.